Into like a sports podcast.
All
Is that
right.
what we're doing now?
Well, I don't think it turned into a sports podcast, but we're getting close.
Fucking bro.
Penguins. We're live now, boys. Welcome, everyone in the chat. My money is on the hockey town known as Pittsburgh. You know, Rampy, I don't want to kick anybody out of the chat, but you're coming this close already. We just got here.
Is there a mod in chat? Venom?
What's
Yeah,
up?
I don't like this Rampy guy now.
What's up, fellas? What's
Let me
going
log
on?
in.
So, in case anyone doesn't know, it's playoff hockey. I'm a Ranger fan. We got a couple of Ranger fans here. Zuplex is a Ranger fan. Scythe is a Ranger fan. One shot. I don't know if you really give a shit about hockey, but you're gonna support us because we're a crew here. So we're all rooting for the damn Rangers, and it's an
Let's go
exciting game.
Rangers.
Who they playing? The Penguins?
Yeah, the Penguins.
All right,
Don't say it. Don't say you're rooting for the Penguins. I'm gonna kick you out. I'll resize all the cameras if I have to.
You want the cup.
So we got I mean, there's honestly a ton of stuff to talk about on top of watching the Rangers. Talk about a train wreck. This is gonna be a tough episode to get through. We missed last week. I missed you guys. I just got a little busy.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I realized it wasn't a ton to talk about last Tuesday, and then on Wednesday and Thursday, suddenly the amount of news that was just coming out.
Floodgates opened.
That wasn't the Amber Heard trial, basically, or not the. I'm sorry, the Johnny Depp trial. There's been tons
They
of
don't
news.
have a fucking Twitch desktop app anymore.
I'd be surprised if they didn't.
They don't. I just tried to log into it. It says it's not with us anymore.
Rampy says, I just like causing chaos and seeing another cup coming home. You're right. If the cup does come home, I'll be very happy. Home to New York. Even though I'm not from New York.
This referee is beat to shit right now. You see his face?
Yeah. He looks like he's been through it already. So anyway, boys, we're going to talk about Moon Knight, Episode 5. Halo, Episode 6.
4 and 5.
What'd you say? Oh, 4 and 5.
and
That's true.
5.
Yeah, because we missed last week. We got Halo, Episode 5 and 6, technically. And then Cinemacon. But before we get into those, I just wanted to, for anyone who doesn't know, Ozark, the final, these things get confusing now. The final half of the final season just released last Friday, or the Friday just passed. It's 8 episodes, I believe it is. And it's the end of the whole series. If you have not watched Ozark, but you like Breaking Bad, you like, you know, the whole anti-hero kind of thing, Ozark is a phenomenal show on Netflix. And as of Friday, you can watch the entire thing from beginning to end. I highly recommend it. It's a great, great show. Do you guys watch?
Yes.
I haven't watched the last season yet.
I didn't start the second half yet.
I'm
all caught up. I just have to start binge watching.
I'm only 2 episodes into this second half so far, and it's already started off a little surprising as far as I'm concerned. But otherwise, I think the show is excellent and very intense.
I honestly want to rewatch the previous season, like the last few episodes of it also, because I took so much time away from not watching because I wanted to watch the whole last season as a whole.
Right.
So I kind of I kind of forgot how it ended.
I don't blame you. It's definitely the kind of show where if you're not 100% like up to date and clear on what's happening, you can easily get lost and distracted. So you know, I don't blame you for rewatching it. We also have another big show that's coming to an end is Better Call Saul. I don't know if you guys watched that one. But speaking of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul is a spinoff, all about Saul Goodman, and the series finale.
I've never cared less about a show.
Did you like Breaking Bad though?
I loved Breaking Bad, but that's why I didn't want to watch Better Call Saul.
Oh man,
Breaking Bad was one of my favorite shows. I watched 2 seasons of Better Call Saul and never went back.
It's funny.
My thing is this: Breaking Bad was a perfect show. Ended perfectly. It was on for the right amount of time. It never got tired, and it never had a chance to get bad.
See, so I don't disagree, but I felt that the first 2 seasons were very slow. They were good, but very slow. And I personally think Better Call Saul. So this is like a kind of a catch-22 conundrum kind of thing. I personally think Better Call Saul is a better show than Breaking Bad, beginning to end. However, would I think that if Breaking Bad wasn't as good in the final few seasons, like?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know that if this was the first show they released that I would love it as much as I do. But from the moment the show started, the Better Call Saul, I've been 100% just invested. I'm loving it so much. And the final season of the entire series has started. It's about 3 or 4 episodes in. Yesterday may have been episode 4. So it's almost done. It's been confirmed that Walter White's making a cameo. Excuse me, Jesse Pinkman's making a
Jesse
cameo.
are making a cameo, right?
Yeah, no one knows how, but they're in it.
Yeah.
Science, bitch.
Yeah, Batch. That was always his claim to fame.
See, my thing was Breaking Bad ended so perfectly that there was no need for any type of spin-offs from it.
I don't necessarily disagree. I think when they first announced Better Call Saul, I was a little iffy about it for that same reason.
Yeah.
But I fell in love right away. I was much more into it than I expected, and Vince Gilligan, he knows how to write a show. He just knows how to be on top of his characters.
He's amazing.
So,
I didn't dislike Saul. I don't know. It was just one of those things where it's like you kind of fall behind and then you don't pick it back up.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh yeah.
I didn't really care to go back to it. You know what I mean?
And it is just like Ozark. It's one of those shows where if you miss an episode or two, or even like a season, you can't just kind of jump back in wherever it is. You have to go back and watch because you're just gonna be lost.
Yeah.
So those are 2 big things that are out. And then the other big news or big thing for this week, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We have made it to the Doctor Strange 2 week. The premiere was yesterday. Stay off social media. Let's avoid as many spoilers as we can. I know, Scythe, you're going to see it. Zuplex, you said you're going to see it. I'm definitely going to see it with the captain. One shot. You're the final straw here. You got to tell us. You gonna go see it or not?
Wild card.
It'll be a mystery. You'll have to find out.
So that means
Tune
that
in next week.
Yeah, tune in.
Tune in next week when Steve tells us he didn't see it.
The big here's the big thing. Next week is the Theater Room Podcast episode 40. And it worked out that I missed last week because next week, the big thing for episode 40, the big milestone, is whether or not Steve watched Doctor Strange 2 in theaters. We're gonna find out. The goal is here. We're gonna have to ask him. We're gonna have to ask. Oh, wait a minute, Super Nintendo. I think he just gave it away. Going with me.
Oh, bitch. Why'd you put it out there, Tim?
Damn it, Tim. Now next week,
Just ruined everything, Tim.
Who's gonna tune in next week? Everyone now knows. So that means hey, for the first time, we're all going to go see a movie. We're all going to be able to talk about it.
I haven't seen any spoilers about it yet, but at the premiere, Feige was doing an interview, and one of the things he was talking about was, he said, listen, if you've been paying attention and you watched the end of Loki and the beginning of, if you watched the end of Loki, if you watched all of WandaVision, the end of Loki, and then he said that leads to them breaking the spell in Spider-Man No Way Home.
I was just going to bring that up.
No.
So apparently he confirmed that Peter wasn't the reason Doctor Strange's spell got all screwed up in No Way Home. That it was actually He Who Remains dying is what screwed up that spell. So I guess the thought process is that
we kind of talked about that when we were talking about Spider-Man. Like
we did bring it up.
What timeline is all this happening? And it just seems like Wanda, Kang, and No Way Home was just all at the same time, just shit happening.
Well, Fred, you've been saying for weeks now. You've been saying how Doctor Strange 2 is going to kind of not right the ship. That's not really the right phrase, but it's going to kind of steer the MCU going forward and kind of give us the direction. And you might be right on the money. Maybe we find out that the He Who Remains was keeping the timeline correct and blah blah blah. And when he died, we saw all the branching storylines in Loki, and that is actually what happens in No Way Home, not Strange just doing a random spell for a teenager.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get a lot of like loose ends tied up with this.
Fly.
What's up, Fly? Oh, real quick, sorry, Zuplex. Super Nintendo. He says he's canceling his date with you. One shot. So, I guess you got to find a way to go to another.
If I jump
on another show,
play Splitgate tonight.
Oh, you'll win his heart. You'll win his heart back again. Sorry, Zuplex. What were you saying?
Yeah. So I was just saying that I think this is going to tie up a bunch of loose ends and give us an idea of where they're heading going forward. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, and I know we were going to talk about it, but I kind of feel like it should be mentioned now. The Ant-Man moving up in scheduling is going to play nice for Doctor Strange because it's going to kind of because Quantum is going to be like the closure of what's weirdly happening with the multiverse.
That's
right?
That's what I think also. That's exactly what I think. So I think it's almost like we're done with Kang by the end of Quantum, and then we move on to the next, whatever the next long storyline is going to be. I mean, that's just my guess. But now let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
And this is like, do we think this depends on how much credit we want to give Feige? Did they plan to reshuffle the schedule between Ant-Man and Captain Marvel 2?
Probably.
Like a long time ago to just wait until now to change it? Or was it literally a last minute thing, like where they're like, oh, well, something happened behind the scenes. Let's just switch those.
I think they're having way more problems with Wakanda Forever than they ever anticipated.
Oh, that's possible. That's
possible. To do it. The
they had to fill. I think they're going to push Wakanda Forever back.
Right.
I just think they haven't announced it yet, and man will kind of fill that.
So they're anticipating issues with Wakanda 2 or Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
Well, when was that supposed to come out?
2023 originally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I mean, I can't see that not getting pushed back to 2024 at the earliest. So I feel like I give Kevin Feige a lot of credit, and I feel like, maybe certain characters or cameos or whatever he didn't want to give away that are going to sort of tie in Ant-Man 3. So he was like, let's, say we're going to release it on whatever day, but just before the movie Doctor Strange 2 comes out, we'll kind of reshuffle things, put us in the headlines, and, kind of tie it in together a little bit.
I mean, Feige's good at thinking on his feet too. So, I mean, right. I wouldn't be surprised if like they were having massive issues with Wakanda Forever, and he's like, all right, let's move Ant-Man up. Let's try and find a way to make this all fit. And came up with a better way of doing all this. They also may have just looked at it and been like, listen, this makes more sense if we move Ant-Man here.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
That's what I'm thinking more like this will like close the phase, if you want to call it that.
It's possible.
Because like honestly, with the Marvels, like what was that going to contribute?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I'm hoping it's a bigger movie and a better movie.
Anything about that movie, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be more cosmic. And that'll tie into Guardians and everything else after that. So it makes most sense to flip it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know which way they're going with all this, but I'm excited to take the ride, as it were. I think Thor's going to be a lot bigger for the overall story than anybody's anticipating.
I do hope that Captain Marvel 2 ends up being.
I agree with that.
Not a bigger deal. I mean, the first one was a bigger deal, was a decent deal because it introduced the strongest hero, I guess, but it just didn't feel like it was necessary at the time. And I'm hoping that Captain Marvel 2 feels necessary. Well, according to him, he's the strongest.
On his hat. He wrote it on the hat. He's the strongest Avenger.
I think Thor introduces us to the next big bad of the Marvel universe. I think Kang's the red herring.
It's possible. I mean, I feel like Thor is not going to necessarily introduce us. It's just going to give us some breadcrumbs that will lead to the next big bad. You know what I mean? Like, it'll always be the start of where we go. You know what I mean?
I think a backdoor deal is made with Sony, and we're getting Null.
Well, I think we're definitely going to get Null. I think that's going to come down at some point, whether it's in Thor: Love and Thunder, like an after credit scene, or maybe just for the next Thor movie or something. But I think we're going to get Null at some point. It kind of there's a lot of signs that point to it,
Exactly. I think me and Fred were watching we did that video on a review of the Thor trailer, and it was more and more of it's leading towards Null, in my opinion.
I'm curious.
Definitely seems that way.
It's hard, right? Because I want to be focused 100% on Doctor Strange 2, but there's so many things coming out quickly that it's like hard to stay focused on just one thing.
No. Well, we're talking about we're not sure about the legality of like if Null actually falls under Sony's purview.
Well, so here's the thing: if it's under Sony's, oh yeah, I guess it would fall under Sony's. If Sony's involved, then they'll work it out. But if they're involved,
Null wasn't created.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say if Sony's involved, they'll work it out with Marvel. We know they will. They clearly see how lucrative it can be with that kind of deal. If it's anyone else, then maybe it could be a problem. But really, who else is even in the game now with Marvel? I know. I think Universal still owns technically the rights to Hulk, but otherwise, everything else is under Marvel. So I don't know that we have to really worry so much about that. I do think though. From what I heard about how bad Morbius is, and I haven't seen it yet, and I'm just gonna wait till it's free. At what point does Sony finally say, you know what, Marvel, like here, just do whatever you want, give us a little portion of the money? They should though,
because they have Spider-Man.
As long as they have Spider-Man,
but they don't have Spider-Man. Oh,
they do.
They do.
I don't believe it. I don't see it.
They do. They have Spider-Man, and they know they have Spider-Man, and they can literally make these massive deals with Disney every couple of years to be like, do you want to still keep using Spider-Man? Pay us a buttload of money.
So what you're telling me,
all our production.
What you're trying to tell me is that they purposely make Morbius and Venom suck, so that when Spider-Man's contract comes up, they can be like, well, we'll ruin him too. We'll ruin him too.
What we're saying is they have Spider-Man, and it doesn't matter if it sucks or not.
That's what we're saying.
Fucking
like, listen,
Sony.
I'm sure they tried really hard. No, I think they're just not as good at this as Disney is, obviously. And at the end of the day, but they still have the money train.
Yeah,
money train is Spider-Man. Spider-Man consistently is the highest grossing superhero of all time when it comes to movies. Okay?
Do you think we get a surprise Andrew Garfield Spider-Man 3? Do you think that happens?
No, but it's looking like we're getting Spider-Man 4 because Sam Raimi wants to do it.
Yeah, well, he said he's open to doing it, but he doesn't have any treatments for it. He hasn't tried to work on it or anything like that. So
yeah,
because he's just wrapping up, Strange and dealing with all that.
Rampy just said in the chat, I just put 50 down on the pens and for Sid the Kid to go off on the second period. Second period's over. What are you talking about?
Only the third period, Rampy. Pay attention.
Yeah, you're way behind, bruh. Way behind. And we don't call him Sid the Kid in the Theater Room podcast. We call him Crybaby Crosby.
Yeah. And he's not a kid anymore. He's 47. Stop it.
and still crying.
Yeah, he's way past kid age.
This guy a kid.
He still throws tantrums. Someone's skating near me.
He was Sid the Kid when he was 18. Now he's Sid the Grandpa.
Anyway, all right, go ahead. Back to the nerd talk.
Don't get me started there.
Yeah, I can't with Crosby. I can't.
So I think, listen, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. Marvel has to make deals with them to even get the ability to put out another Tom Holland picture. So it's going to be. The thing about Null wasn't created until 2018.
Right.
Yeah.
He's technically not a Spider-Man villain.
Unless they own the umbrella of symbiotes. Like anything that's a symbiote they own.
I mean, that's going to be the question, right?
I feel like that is how it'll end up being, in legal terms, that's how it'll end up being worded.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know. So, because that contract was written so long ago, I don't know if it even included any future Spider-Man villains.
Right.
So
speaking of Spider-Man villains, they announced Venom 3, so there's another pile of trash I can just throw in the garbage. Unless they recast. Well, no, they can keep Tom Hardy. They just kind of reboot the entire thing with somebody who knows about Venom and how to make him cool.
So, what do you think? Do you think we're going to get Toxin? Kind of teased him at the end of Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get Carnage because, why would they do him justice? I think we are going to get, though. I will say, I don't know what villain they're going to do. They did tease Toxin, but I think what we're going to get finally, which would make me interested in seeing it, is a Spider-Man interaction with Venom. I think we're finally going to get something, somehow, whether it's Miles Morales, Andrew Garfield, maybe they borrow Tom Holland, who knows. I think we're finally going to get to see the two of them on screen together in live action.
We already know that him and Tom Holland aren't in the same universe.
Yeah, but again,
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, but after Doctor Strange, after Quantumania, I mean, they could. I mean, listen.
And that the Venom from Tobey's movies was the kid from that '70s show, and he was terrible.
Yeah.
Well, maybe to your point,
it's Andrew Garfield.
Maybe to your point, Scythe, it's Tobey Maguire comes back for Spider-Man 4, but maybe Venom 3 is the return of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Maybe that's how they bring him back.
Maybe.
Just because that's been in the headline. So, generally with the way it works, there's got to be a reason for it.
I think we're going to see both Toby and Andrew get their own Spider-Man movies. I think they're gonna close their trilogy or series or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, they might.
I
would be more
I'd
interested
be
in
cool
Andrew
with seeing
Garfield.
Andrew back. I don't necessarily know if I want to see another Tobey Maguire full Spider-Man movie.
No, I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with that.
I feel like his trilogy was there. It was good. Like everybody talks about Spider-Man 2, like it's one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. So it's kind of like
he did his thing.
Leave that leave that where it is. Type of thing.
I do think what we need to get is whether it's Andrew. I almost would prefer Andrew Garfield because I feel like his character has more story to tell. Excuse me, but I do think they need to bring Miles Morales in. So whatever the next they do with Spider-Man,
100%.
aside from the MCU, whatever they do with Spider-Man, Sony does, they need to at least give us the breadcrumbs, give us an introduction to Miles Morales, give him his origin and his powers, and then maybe he could be the one who interacts with Venom down the line. You know what I mean?
But I mean, Miles exists in the MCU. We just haven't seen him yet.
Well, his uncle exists, right? I know he said he's got a nephew, but we didn't ever got a name drop around like that.
Yeah, he did. Miles, yeah.
Yes, he did.
When did he say Miles?
When he called him on the phone.
Who called him on the phone?
He talked to him on the phone. I'm pretty sure. I'll double check. Hold
on. I'm like almost guaranteed.
I'm going to challenge that. I could be wrong, but I want to challenge it.
He said Miles.
Let's see.
I don't think he did.
Is there a Miles Morales name drop in the MCU? That's how I search on Google. I type.
Who was the guy? Was it Glover?
Yeah, Donald Glover was
his
uncle.
Prowler.
Yeah,
right. I'm pretty sure he name drops his nephew Miles.
No, in a deleted scene from the movie, he name drops him.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and in the theatrical version, he didn't name drop him. There's a deleted scene where he's trying to take the web off his hand, and he calls his nephew. That's where he name drops him. So does that count? I don't know. At this point, I feel like deleted scenes are such a big part of the overall MCU anyway. Yeah. So I would say it counts. I say count it. I was wrong. He name dropped him. I'll concede.
They shot it with the intention of accounting and then scrapped it last second.
Yeah, but every movie does that. In I Am Legend, they shot the good ending with the intention of accounting, and then they scrapped it for the shit ending. That's commonplace. So
I think. Listen, everything's got to lead towards Miles, right? It's going to be the biggest Spider-Man movie of all time.
That's going to be huge. I think that's going to be huge. Honestly, that might be that might top No Way Home.
I don't think Sony is gonna go ahead and do it. I think they're gonna let Marvel take care of it. I think they're gonna cut a new deal with Marvel. Listen, we'll let you make the Miles movie. Blah 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 blah.
I mean, I'd be all for that.
Because honestly, if it's done by Sony, I really worry about it.
Yeah, no, I am all for it.
I can see them introducing Miles on the Sony side if they did go with the Tobey Spider-Man 4 and have old man Peter Parker training Miles. I could see that.
You could do that, but you can also have Andrew Garfield's veteran Peter Parker training Miles Morales. I mean, if you look at the Spider-Man games, Zuplex and One Shot, you guys can kind of earmuffs because Scythe and I have PS5s. If you play the Spider-Man games, that Spider-Man is not like an old guy. You know what I mean? He's a young guy, just been doing it for a bunch of years, and he trains Miles Morales. So you can easily do that with the movies with the Andrew Garfield side.
I mean, there's so many different
Zuplex and One Shot. You can come back in the conversation now.
Oh yeah, thanks.
No problem.
Thanks. There's so many different ways they can go with all this because we know that they've talked about doing Madam Web, but Spider-Gwen. I mean, Spider-Gwen is a huge character.
Right.
A hugely popular character that I think that they're going to have to go forward with at some point also.
Right. She's another one that they do have to introduce. I mean, she's popular enough where she deserves her spot. She deserves a live action version.
To keep Emma Stone. I thought she was awesome as Gwen.
She was excellent. But again, they could bring her back, right? I mean, listen, it's a multiverse thing.
She was awesome as Gwen Stacy. I don't know if she'd be a good Spider-Gwen, to be honest with you.
But why not?
Would pull it off?
I think she would.
I think she could pull it off.
She could definitely pull it off. But, who knows? They haven't made any kind of allusions to that. So,
Can't be any worse than Brie Larson.
That is true.
I mean, is that really the bar that we're using?
I mean, you can only go up from there.
Now, could she be better than Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman?
I don't think so.
who's writing the script.
See, now that's the key right there, right? Who's the one controlling the character? Rampy just says, think that would include the characters format, Netflix, a Spider-Man movie, or standalone movies. I'm not sure what he's trying to say there. Clarify, Rampy. Clarify.
A Netflix Spider-Man movie?
You mean like
never happened.
You mean like Sony movies? Oh, well, I guess because the Spider-Man movies generally go to Netflix first, so maybe a Netflix comes into the deal somehow and has like exclusive rights to certain movies.
I don't think they would ever put a Spider-Man movie out to streaming before a theater release.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
I don't think so either. It doesn't matter the character.
$1 billion away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I said it a couple weeks ago. Your top 3 theater draws are always Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. Will always make money, no matter how good or bad the movie is. Look, Batman and Robin made money. It was a heaping pile of dog shit, and it made money. Everybody went to go see it.
Just to put it in perspective, the Batman movie that included Robin finally, but also included Robin nipples on his outfit, made money. Was considered a success by Hollywood studios.
That movie was entertaining. It wasn't the. It was entertaining. Not a good movie, but it was entertaining.
It was worth going to see it in theaters to watch him dry clothes with martial arts. That's all I'll say. Wait, no, that's the wrong one.
Drying clothes with martial arts is
Everybody freeze.
That was Batman Forever. Actually, I got my movies mixed up. Yeah, because in Batman and Robin, he's already Robin, so he dries the clothes. That impressed Alfred enough to go. Okay, Batman, I'll make him a suit.
Was that Poison Ivy? Was that
Batman Forever? Yeah, that was Poison Ivy. And
so Batman Forever made $336 million.
That's nuts, man. That is nuts. $336 million. That was Poison Ivy. Batman and Robin was Poison Ivy. Batman and Robin was Poison Ivy, the worst version of Bane I've ever seen in my life. And
Batman Forever. Batman and Robin made. So that was a flop.
Well, yeah, that's
$190 million.
That's why they stopped making movies for Batman until Christopher Nolan said, "Wait."
Oh no, but I'm sorry.
Redo it.
$238 million.
So it still made money. It was considered a flop, but it still made money. I wonder what the budget on that one was. Speaking of Batman, one of the other announcements from CinemaCon,
especially back then, their budget was nowhere near.
Well, that's the thing is they had a budget of $160 million on that movie.
Yeah,
that's why it was a flop.
But now we got the Batman 2 coming out. Not coming out. I mean, just announced, so they're doing it. Do we think they're going Court of Owls on Batman 2? I
think that or Hush.
They're going to do the Court of Robins. It's going to be a Robin verse.
As long as one of them is Nightwing, I'll be happy then, finally.
I will tell you this. If they did do Court of Owls, that does get us one step closer to Nightwing.
Oh, 100%.
The Court of Owls storyline had a lot to do with Dick Grayson.
I've given up on the idea of getting any other character besides Batman. Apparently, he's the only hero DC knows how to do. So it's just gonna be more and more Batman. I've rewatched Batman, by the way.
Robin was dead in the Snyderverse.
Not to go. I know that they just don't like Robin. Not to go on a DC tangent, but I rewatched Batman now that it's on HBO Max. And
I think you're second watching.
I definitely. It's just as boring as it was in the theater. I was. I mean, listen, I like it.
Still haven't watched it.
Oh, Steve, come on, bro. Well, at least you're gonna see Doctor Strange. At least you'll start with Doctor Strange. You can see that. You keep up with us from then on. You keep up with us. You watch everything we watch.
Depends on what it is.
No, listen. I like the Batman. I like a lot about it. I just find myself bored. It's just too slow. Every scene just lingers a little too long for me. But anyway.
I've rewatched it a few times since it's been on HBO Max. And it bothered me when I saw it in the theaters, and I don't think I got a chance to say it during our 9-hour podcast about this movie, but there are far too many weird close-up slow-mo shots of Robert Pattinson when he does something heroic.
Yeah, they're really trying to sell the idea that
I don't know what they were thinking with that, and it's one of the things that just I remember in the theater watching it and just being like, why are we closing in on his face right now?
It was like specific camera shots to make it look artsy. Yeah. They were going for an Oscar there.
They could have easily shaved 25 minutes from the movie and it would have felt
100%.
I really feel like if they did shave 15 to 20 minutes at least, the pacing would have picked up so much, and I don't think any of the boring moments would have hit as much for me.
Yeah.
You know, but but I personally, and this is just my opinion, I'm fully aware of this because I've gotten into plenty of arguments about this. I want a more campy Batman. I want to kind of go back to the comic-y. Not everything needs to be grounded in reality. You know, I'm a fan of the MCU for a reason, so I want Batman to kind of go in that direction. You know, but I'll take what we can get. And I do feel like I said before, I do feel like the Batman was a phenomenal start to this new trilogy of movies. And I do feel like the next one, the sequel, really has the potential to actually dethrone The Dark Knight as the best Batman movie with Court of Owls and whatever they do. You know,
awesome.
I have a funny feeling that if now that Discovery has in-house over there and they're
the kicker, man.
I think that restart an entire DC universe around this Batman. I think it's the right move, to be honest with you.
I agree. And that's actually the other big thing that I want. One of the other big things I wanted to talk about this week was Discovery. You know, they're making their presence felt. You know, Legends of Tomorrow already canceled. Batwoman already canceled. They announced Batman 2, and I know we all know. Oh, I lost somebody.
Oh, Steve.
Dropped.
Oh, I got to fix the cameras then. Let me fix the cameras.
But gone.
Maybe his internet went out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I told you, boys, a few weeks ago. Watch Discovery. They're gonna shake things up.
And
I knew they were.
They didn't wait.
I was like, wow.
They didn't wait at all.
I was shocked about the CW stuff, to be honest with you, because
they're
terrible as those shows are now.
They make money
though.
They're
the only thing working.
Yeah, they bring people to the network. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know a lot of people will still watch those shows and watch them religiously.
The crazy thing is,
I still watch the Flash. The Flash is still good to me.
Legends
the best version of Flash.
Gold.
What did you say?
Legends just debuted Booster Gold this season.
Yeah,
they shit can the whole thing.
I am hoping that they at least give Legends a real send off. Maybe they give it like a CW major CW movie. Oh, come on, man. I just resized cameras and now he's back. That's all right. Let me I gotta get back in.
I think honestly, as good as those CW shows started off, I think they went far too, I don't know what it is. It's just something about them that they just stopped working after a while, you know? Right. Even though I love the Flash, like the Flash show was amazing. Grant Gustin, I think, is the best Flash we've ever seen on screen.
Yeah.
But even that show, like after like season 5, it's just like, all right, Barry, how are you going to change the future this time? You know what I mean? Like it became very like.
You know what made me tired of it? What made me get tired of the Flash is, you know, he's like, oh, we can never mess with time again because it screws you up and there's always these consequences. And then every season he just messes with time willy-nilly, like it's no big deal because, he's found some sort of justification for it.
That's what he does.
They took some swings on that show,
That is what the Flash does, though, right? I mean, that's kind of his
They brought in Gorilla Grodd. They brought in King Shark. They brought in, like...
Yeah, and they did it well. They did it well.
No, absolutely.
And I would argue they probably have the best version of Gorilla Grodd and King Shark. I mean, it looks really good on the show for the budget they have. The storylines are always really good. They use them in a way where it's entertaining. It's not so serious.
Yeah.
They give us the best.
Wait, what happened?
Damn it! You guys hear me?
Damn it, Steve.
Yeah, I hear you.
Damn my shit crashed.
Freaking messed up my whole shit. Talk about a train wreck, man.
Train wreck the podcast.
My shit crashed.
Anyone listening, keep an eye out for train wreck merch. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get that stuff.
I've been saying it for weeks. I gotta get on it.
We're gonna get it done.
My apologies.
Yeah. So I mean, but the CW shows after Arrow. Excuse me. Once you get past Arrow and Flash, everything else after that was kind of like,
yeah,
this is what we're doing,
Yeah.
What I liked about Legends is they didn't care. They went for it. They didn't care how silly or dumb it might have looked or seemed. They went for it, and I respected that. Like,
100%.
I respected it, but it did seem pretty silly and dumb.
Yeah, what? What'd you say?
I respected it, but it was really silly and really dumb.
Specifically,
at times,
my favorite finale.
A lot of good things.
My favorite finale was when I think it was the first season that they had Constantine with Legends. I want to say at the end, the finale of that season, they had Bebo or whatever, that big blue stuffed bear.
Yeah.
You know, it turns into like a kaiju and fights some big demon or something like that. That's when it's like, like the show knows what it wants to be and what we expect out of the show.
I'll tell you right now, like Constantine's a perfect example. Like that was a show that wasn't on the CW, it was on NBC. And have you ever watched that first season of
Constantine? I watched it.
It's amazing.
Excellent show.
Good.
So underrated.
It's amazing.
It was so underrated.
No one watched it. They canceled it after 8 episodes. I was like, this is nuts.
But I feel like nobody watched it because the marketing didn't do a good job of really giving you an idea of what to expect. They made you think it was like a CW superhero show, and it really wasn't. It was much different. But it was kind of a breath of fresh air. I mean, the character was.
I'm glad they brought him
very
back,
different.
He was great.
Absolutely, and he's a good actor to play.
And I think he's getting an animated. Isn't he getting an animated show or something like that? Like something like made for Paramount Plus or whatever. Like they're bringing the voice actor, the actor back to do the voice. I got to double check that. But
one of those characters that they could build an entire franchise around that character.
Yeah, talk about a shared universe waiting to happen. You can explode off Constantine.
100%. Make him the center of your Dark Avengers, not Dark Avengers, Dark Justice League Dark, they call it. Your Justice League Dark franchise, you know what I mean? Like he's the linchpin for it all.
Yeah.
Then you could bring in Zatanna, you could bring in Swamp Thing, you could bring in.
So that would be that'd be something I'd be excited to see. It's different, and it would help kind of separate the DCEU from the Marvel stuff. Mm-hmm. But I guess we gotta stop calling it DCEU, right? If Discovery wants to kind of reboot it and they want to use Batman as like the template,
they're
to go
looking
forward.
for their Feige is what they're doing right now,
right? Yeah. Which is what they've sorely missed. I mean, I guess they tried it with Zack Snyder. Warner Brothers did anyway. And they just kind of chose the wrong guy to really oversee everything. But
I don't know if Zack Snyder's really the guy.
No, I don't think it was him.
He was
Jeff Johns or something like that.
Well, it started off with Zack Snyder because with Man of Steel, remember that did so well that they wanted Zack Snyder to kind of oversee the DCEU going forward.
Yeah,
and that's why basically every movie when he was in charge is gray and very slow and overly dramatic and everyone's brooding and upset. And then they said, well, we're going to screw it up. And, unfortunately, he had to deal with the tragedy. So
they had brought in Jeff Johns. You're right about that. They had brought in Jeff Johns because they wanted somebody from the comic universe to like kind of oversee things. But the problem is, and this is something that's been going for years and years and years with Warner Brothers when it comes to their relationship with DC Comics, is that they overly produce everything.
Yes.
100%. They have to try and like overproduce these comic book stories to a point where it's just like, okay, like there's a very funny if you ever hear Kevin Smith tell the story about when he went in to start writing for Superman Lives.
Yes. I know this.
And like he talks about how like Jonathan Peters was sitting there like, all right, there's got to be a big spider and there's got to be this and I don't want to see him in the cape. I don't want to see him fly. And it's like, dude, have you ever read a Superman comic?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? But like that's how Warner Brothers has always been, where it's just like, it would be cool if we did this, and all the comic book community is like, well, yeah, but that's not that like character.
Right.
What are you talking about? Like,
well, the DCEU leading like all the way through Justice League. You can smell Warner Brothers putting their fingers on everything that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And, decisions like Doomsday being in the second Superman movie when he's also facing Batman, shoehorning in Wonder Woman and Aquaman and all these intros. Like, you could just feel that they were just like, we need money.
One time they really didn't put their fingers into stuff, except for the first one, was the Nolanverse, right? They let Christopher Nolan roll with it.
Right.
Besides Batman Begins, because Batman Begins reeked of Warner Brothers shit that they threw in there. Like the whole part when he's like controlling bats with echo sonar.
Yeah.
That was definitely like a Warner Brothers, like he's got to control bats. He's Batman.
Some executive who's like, it'd be really cool. It'd be really cool if he controls bats.
Exactly. That came from Sony, from Warner Brothers. But the most part, they let Christopher Nolan deliver us a trilogy that everybody loves, even though it's the most un-Batman trilogy of all time.
Yeah. Well, it's true. That's true. You can't argue that one.
It was entertaining. They were good movies. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
Rampy says in the chat, DC needs to stick to the animated shows and movies, which isn't a bad point because their animated stuff is fantastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They've always kind of outpaced.
They let mostly comic book creators handle all that stuff, which is why their animated stuff is so much better than everything else.
Wait, you're telling me
live action? They just can't rush it and let somebody who knows and cares about the damn characters.
So you're saying that if they let somebody who knows the characters handle these things, it would actually work?
That's it.
You're nuts. You're nuts. Speaking of
Discovery seems to think so too, though.
Speaking of people who know the characters, did you guys watch Halo episode 5 and 6?
Absolutely loved episode 5.
Horrible segue. Episode 5 was I
horrible segue.
I didn't I wouldn't say I loved episode 5. I did like the last 15 minutes of episode 5, but episode 6 I thought was really good. So just as like a quick recap, episode 5 ends with a massive battle with Covenant and
battle awesome.
And Spartans and UNSC, and you got Banshees, the Needler. We finally see that in action. We got Grunts. We got
the Needler is dope.
What's the big guy? The Brute. I mean, some massive battle. We got a lot of kind of character development.
Banshee and
it was
leading it into the
it was absolutely amazing. Like the fact that they can do that, but they give us 8 other episodes of just utter crap.
That's a problem. That's a major problem. They
I will say this.
I'm not saying every episode needs to have a big battle scene like that, because then it becomes a little too much, I guess. But you can't give us the first 20 minutes is a big battle scene, and then 5 episodes later, the last 20 minutes of the 5th episode is another battle scene. Yeah. Everything else is Quahan wasting our time on that freaking
that was
Tatooine.
The worst part of the episode.
By far.
Fucking tantrum in the goddamn desert. Like,
wasted so much time on that.
What bothered you?
They are so determined to have this dude not wear this helmet. It's insane.
Yeah.
He finally puts the helmet back on. He gets in the battle, and then we have to have a close up of his face in the helmet.
Yeah.
No, you know what irritates me, and I kind of laugh at it because I know it's irritating you guys even more, is like the close up of him holding the helmet.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Steve and I we mentioned it every single time. I really feel like it's the producers or somebody on the show is like, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna piss everybody off. And we're gonna tell them all to kiss our asses by holding the helmet, having him hold it.
Yeah.
And we're always gonna zoom in, so you see his ass and the helmet right next to it. It's a metaphor.
Hey, this was a good scene, but make sure you zoom in on the helmet because people love the helmet.
Listen, during the battle scene, he's got the helmet on, right? We still want to see his face. So zoom in inside the helmet and do the Tony Stark thing.
Right. But I wouldn't even hate that.
We can't just show the helmet. Like
I didn't hate it either.
If they did that from the beginning, instead of taking the helmet off, if they did that, the Tony Stark thing where you see the face with the HUD or whatever, then fine, I would take it. Leave the helmet on, we can see his face. If you need to show your face to fucking act, I would take it. But the fact that he keeps taking it off, and then when he finally has it on, they still zoom in to show his face. I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, apparently he needs to show his ass to act too. So
yeah.
I'm so tired of it, man. I'm telling you. Like, I was so happy during that battle scene. I was like, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. They did more first-person stuff where they were, like, showing the gun and the first-person shooting, and they had the sounds right. And I was like, yes. Yeah. Then it cuts to his face inside that helmet. I was like, motherfucker. Come on, man.
They really, why? In episode 5, they really reminded us what the show can be with the big battle at the end. But Rampy says in episode 5 was what I wanted to see in a Halo show due to the battle. And then he says, I just want Sergeant Johnson in the show due to him being Chief's best friend in the Covenant War. I mean, don't hold your breath, because we're not going to get much more of that.
I think that's what Keys took over. I think they're using Keys as the Sergeant Johnson role.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. I do think
we gotta stop calling him Master Chief, because they've named him, and they're very, very particular in making sure that we always call him John.
Yeah. No, Master Chief doesn't mean it means nothing.
You know what bothered me?
What?
Because it doesn't make sense from a military aspect, and I could be wrong because I wasn't in military, but calling him Master Chief Petty Officer. That just didn't make sense to me.
Is that his ranking though in the games? Is he a petty officer? I really don't even know. I don't know the games as well.
Master Chief is a rank. Like, why would
you should know something about this, bud?
Why would Master Chief Petty Officer be his rank?
It's just weird. I mean, his acting did improve
in
episode 6.
So strange to me.
And did you guys notice though in episode 6 they didn't give us Kwa Han? They gave us one little scene for whatever reason where we needed to see her at least once.
I don't even remember her being in episode 6.
Literally, when he goes into the ship and he's checking his health, he has a quick vision of her complaining or doing whatever Kwa Han does, and that's it though. It's like literally 2 seconds, and we don't see her the rest of the show. And the pacing on episode 6 was almost flawless without an action scene. It was just a good episode.
Yeah, finally. It was a good episode.
Episode 6 was boring as hell to me. I was out of it again.
See, for me, it was
interesting.
I liked it. I thought it was a good episode.
Yeah, I just you lost me again as soon as you started with like the.
It was a good filler episode.
I'll tell you what though. So what pisses you off more? Because Steve and I pointed this out when we watched episode 6. What pisses you off more? The helmet coming off constantly, or him holding it next to himself and all that shit? Or the fact that they finally got onto Halo, Master Chief or John and that other chick land on Halo or imagine themselves on Halo or whatever, and they don't even give us a hint of the Halo theme. They gave us a hint of it a few times in previous episodes. But they're there. They showed us the Halo.
They tried, though. They tried.
They didn't try shit.
Not in this episode. I didn't catch even a one little note. Steve and I were like, what? How do you not do that?
They fucking blue-balled the shit out of everybody. Yeah. By giving us little fucking keys here and there, but didn't do the actual theme when they had the opportunity to do it.
Agreed.
I will say this is the first time they had 2 episodes back, in my opinion, 2 episodes back to back that I weren't I didn't absolutely hate. You know what I mean? Episode 5 and 6
ended strong for me. Episode 6 ended strong for me, but like the whole first half of that episode, honestly, I don't care. I just nothing about this character development that they've done with Master Chief is making me care about like wanting to see his backstory or wanting to see like where he can. I want to see him kill grunts.
Yeah,
right.
Master Chief, stop being John, start being Master Chief. Yeah, let's get at it. You know, like I'm just.
Yeah, I agree with that.
One thing I don't understand. What I think what annoys me is, this could just be my own thing though. What annoys me too, on top of the fact that he doesn't wear the helmet as much as he should, is when he takes the armor like partially off, where like the green part is gone. He's just wearing like a black ninja suit. I don't get that. Put him in civilian clothes then. Why, like, it's like you're teasing us.
Wow, what a save! Sorry,
it's all right. He's in that black like exoskeleton more than he's in the actual Master Chief armor, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense either. Like, nothing about this show makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's like they can't decide whether they want to make like a Space Marine show or Halo.
No? Well, at least
I think the only solid factor in the show is Cortana, because it's actually Cortana.
Good. I like Cortana.
Actually, she's been very good. I'll agree with
she's
that.
Been good and consistent.
I do like Cortana.
The way they introduced her, the way they've given us her kind of, I guess, origin story or whatever, and then also this build up to her being like bonding with John is really well done, honestly. And I really.
I hate that he has a name. It bothers me so much.
You told me not to call him Master Chief. I won't do it.
I know. It's so bothersome that they like, because it doesn't. Okay, so the thing that bothers me the most about this John situation is like, he's Master Chief. Everybody knows him as Master Chief. He's never had a name. We've always called him Master Chief, right? And like, you name him, but not only that, but he still has the number, right? They go between calling him Master Chief, the number, and John.
And
they
Petty
want
Officer.
him to be this, Petty Officer John, Master Chief 117. No?
Rampy says that Keys ain't it though. He died in the first game, and yes, Master Chief Petty Officer was his rank in the games. And then he says they need to do it like the games, with them leaving Reach and making a random slip space jump due to being attacked by the Covenant. Which I guess it seems like they're building to that. We're obviously they're gonna land on Halo by the finale. I don't think it's gonna happen before then. I would assume we're gonna get one more battle scene in like the finale of the show, maybe the first half. Hopefully a nice decent one, But otherwise, there's not a lot to love about the show, but there's enough to like where I'm still invested, if that makes sense. That's my opinion.
I like literally every Thursday. turn on Paramount Plus, and I'm like, I don't want to watch this.
You're like, why am I doing this to myself?
Like, but I have to because like we're gonna talk about it, and I want to be able to engage in the conversation. And then I put it on, and like midway through, I'm like, God damn, why did I watch this stupid show?
Well, let's switch gears then from a show that is not that.
I'll tell you right now, if in all honesty, if we weren't doing this podcast,
you would have stopped
watching the first episode, second episode, and after Kwahan breaks her handcuffs because she's the strongest person on the planet.
Yeah.
I would have been like, I'm done with this show. I'm like, I'm not watching it anymore.
That tantrum in the desert, I wanted to just.
Oh my God, bro! How did she breaks her handcuffs? She's a 90-pound Asian chick. She breaks her handcuffs.
Talk about though. Oh, what another save! Sorry, I got distracted. Big save by Shazurkin.
Yeah, no, that was a big save.
Just speaking of the producers of the show trying to piss us fans off, I feel like the fact that they keep cutting back to Kwahan is them kind of being like, I don't care what we're reading in the news and all that stuff. You're gonna like her, damn it. We're gonna put her in the center of the show. Because her whole storyline is just a waste. Every time you cut to her, it just grinds the entire show to a halt, and I can't take it.
So she's the worst character in the whole show.
By far.
Like, not even close.
My thing is this, right? Okay. You gave us a compelling B story. Right? Not what we're getting, but if you gave us a compelling B story that was good, and you left Master Chief in the helmet the whole time doing space battles, just showing up and doing space battles, right?
Right.
That show is way better than what we're getting.
Yeah, 100%.
You had a compelling B story where like all of these factions are warring over the artifact that they're trying to get, and it just cuts to Master Chief every episode, like coming in and saving the day, or coming in and fighting the Covenant for something. Like,
I still think. I understand the mentality behind Hollywood executives or studio executives, whatever, wanting to make these shows or movies about these heroes that people love. But there has to be an understanding that sometimes we like the hero because we don't know about them. Like, it just makes it more interesting. And Master Chief is a good example. They could have given us another, maybe a person coming up in the Spartan program, focus the whole show on that person, and just have Master Chief as like a secondary character that maybe we learn a little bit about as the show goes on. Maybe he bonds with this new character or whatever. And it would have felt more like Halo. The fact that the show was supposed to focus on Master Chief, and we keep cutting back to Kwahan, and the actor they chose is not that great, and he keeps taking the helmet off and all kinds of stuff. Like, all that stuff just kind of makes you, almost like ruins it, you know what I mean?
Let's go!
Oh, Rangers just scored 4-3 with 3:10 left.
Let's go!
Are they allowing that goal?
Let's go!
That looked like a goalie interference, so they're going to review that one.
They didn't call it.
No refs' hands are raised. So anyway, let's get off Master Chief. First, everyone, let's say hi. I'm going to zoom in on one shot here. Let's say hi to his camera partner. Hold on. What's up? What's up, guys?
I actually can't see one shot on my screen either.
You can't see him?
You have his video muted then.
Who can't see one shot?
I can't.
What kind of shit are
you have to unmute his video. There should be like a X or something.
What did I just do?
We got to talk about Moon Knight now. We got to talk about Moon Knight because there's a little bit of a
train wreck, guys.
Here.
Train wreck.
There's a little bit of a dissection here. I know Steve and I are enjoying the shit out of Moon Knight, but from what I understand, you guys, you are liking it. So Scythe, are you the only one who's not into it?
So
hold on, wait, we got it. Hold on, wait, Zuplex, we got to give Scythe a chance here because according to your Facebook post, Scythe, I got the impression that you weren't a fan of Moon Knight, but you need to explain yourself.
Here's my problem. I like Moon Knight. I like everything I'm seeing. The problem is the season is way too short with what they're giving us. We're not getting Moon Knight. It's a Moon Knight show. I've seen 20 minutes of Moon Knight at best.
So is that
all the best things that are happening in this show have been blackouts that we were not allowed to see.
But so that's not a problem.
We're not getting anything.
That's not a problem with Moon Knight. That's a problem with the whole Disney Plus format. Because I think Scythe may have said, or Zoplex, you may have said it, I think, a week or two ago. The problem is with these shows, they're all stuck in this like 6-episode format, and the pacing is all over the place. They basically they're trying to stretch a movie script into 6 hours, and there's a reason why movies don't last 6 hours in most cases. Like you can't maintain the pacing that way.
So here's my thing.
Go ahead, Zuplex.
The Mark Spector show is really good.
Yeah,
we're not getting a Moon Knight show.
Exactly.
We've gotten a Mark Spector show, but what we're getting for that character is being
great.
Amazing.
I'm sorry to interrupt. They called the goal off. That's BS. That was not goal interference.
Come on.
That's a bad call. Anyway, sorry, Zuplex. Go ahead. I interrupted.
That just completely deflated me.
Yeah. That and Steven.
I'm so flaccid right now.
So
he got pushed into the goal.
No, that's a bad call.
So
that's a bad call.
Basically, like Oscar Isaac's amazing.
He is fantastic.
Like his acting is phenomenal in this show. He's playing this DID character with T. The little ticks, the little like differences that he's doing with each time he's a different identity. You know, I'm really enjoying the whole backstory of Mark Spector. Episode was it 5 where we did the whole deep dive into his mother and everything like that?
Yep, that was episode 5. Yep, the last week.
Absolutely, like gut wrenching.
That was a tough episode to get through. Like me emotionally, you know what I mean? Like I hate seeing anything with kids, especially after having one of my own. It's like, you know, seeing somebody abuse a kid, all that kind of stuff, putting that kind of trauma on a kid. So it was kind of tough to get through that episode for sure.
That was a great acting performance.
100%.
Isaac, 100%. It was insane.
What I'm saying is we're getting stuff like that, which is amazing. We're not getting Moon Knight.
Yep,
we're not.
That's my biggest problem.
We're not, and I guess I can't disagree with that because you know we really haven't seen Moon Knight, like the actual hero of Moon Knight, very much in this entire 5 hours so far. But hopefully they make up for it in the next episode. I don't know what they're going to do, but
I mean, wouldn't mind as much if we had 2 more episodes.
What's up, One Shot?
I said maybe season 2 will be more focused on the Moon Knight aspect of it.
Maybe. I mean,
hope so.
Maybe we're getting the like origin story of Mark Spector out of the way, and then next season is
going to be the origin of Jake.
Well, I do think we'll get. I do think, you know, I try to justify it, and I am just kind of trying to come up with a reason to, if I'm being like, I'll admit it, but I'm trying to justify that it's an origin story. And if you look back at a lot of the origin stories in the MCU, even in the 2-hour movies, they go a long time before we get to see the hero as the, you know, the hero we know. However, to your point, Zuplex, it's a 6-hour movie. So getting the hero for 45 minutes out of the entire season is no bueno. And I do hope that at some point Disney changes their format and says it doesn't always have to be a 6-episode thing. Maybe it could be 3 episodes. Maybe it could be 8 episodes. It's whatever's going to like really kind of, what's the word? Like kind of benefit the story the best. You know what I mean? But
it's not necessarily like the episode number. That's like problem. It's that, okay, you know, you're doing 6 episodes.
Right.
That whole second episode is just giving us way more Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Second and third episode, you could have just given us a lot more Moon Knight and gotten away from, you know, and you still have a compelling backstory for Mark.
Right.
And they're setting their own parameters of like, it's going to be 6 episodes. Okay. Because we want to fit it in between this and Obi-Wan, whatever. Right. That's what makes this work. So let's write a 6-episode story arc. We're writing a 9-episode story arc and trying to cram it into 6 episodes of space.
I can see that.
100%.
I can see that.
Which is that's where like they've had this pacing problem with all of their shows, and a lot of it is due to budget and whatever else. Like Captain America: Winter Soldier or Falcon Winter Soldier, whatever you want to call it, started off with this big, expensive flight battle scene and everything like that, and then we had 3-4 episodes of as the truck scene. It basically had 3-4 episodes of no action.
Right.
You know, them just
them
figuring stuff out, little
talking and hiding
here, little action there. Yeah. The pacing was good in that show. I made a lot of sense, because they had to investigate stuff. They were dealing with different storylines going off. It was acted very well.
You know what show had great pacing?
Loki.
For being well, yes, Loki, but I feel like Hawkeye doesn't get as much.
It doesn't. It does not. I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And from beginning to end, I was invested on what they were trying to teach me or show me.
But think about what Hawkeye did though. The first 2 episodes, it was basically the relationship between Hawkeye and Kate. Episode 3 brings in Yelena. At the end of episode 4, we now know what happened to Yelena during the snap and why she's there trying to capture Hawkeye and what her goal is. By episode 5, you basically confirm that Kingpin is in the show, and you basically set up like what the major kind of a moment's going to be in the finale. Episode 6, it all plays out.
Wanting to see the next one.
I agree with you 100%. Hawkeye, in my opinion, got the lowest ratings from what I understand as far as people tuning in to see it or downloading it. However, Steve's getting attacked right now. However, I do think it's probably the best Disney Plus show overall because it just never felt slow.
Loki. 100%.
I think Loki's still the best, but
I think my only problem with Loki is that it was too much setup for something in the future, which is fine. It's getting a season 2, so who knows how much it ties into what's going on in the movies and for season 2 or whatever. But I will say, though, with Moon Knight, I don't disagree about not seeing the character enough. I agree that we're not seeing the character enough, but I don't feel the pacing issues as much because I'm thoroughly, thoroughly enjoying everything they're showing me. Oscar Isaac, I feel like, is just absolutely killing it, putting on a clinic. And it's just, I'm enjoying all of it.
That's what's making it so frustrating to me because, like, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm just not seeing Moon Knight.
Hold on, I just got to zoom in on One Shot again so we can see him and his boy. Look at that.
There you go.
I hear him on the mic. He's talking. He's joining. It's his first podcast, Steve. Welcome to the Theater Room Trainwreck podcast.
You just remember
one thing I don't like, and this is just more of like a nitpick, and this is for Moon Knight in particular. I hate when characters act stupider than we've seen so far. And the example I can give you is after Layla finds out that Mark was there when her father died or he was involved somehow. I can't stand that they stood there at the sarcophagus knowing that Harrow and his men are on the way. Yeah. She had to have that conversation.
Bro.
And they've shown her as a smart character so far. But right there, she's like, no.
In like every show and movie possible.
I know, and it's so frustrating.
Conflict like that. It's so annoying.
It's so frustrating because it's like it's so obvious what's going to happen. The moment she finds out, you just know she's going to go and talk to him. They won't be able to get away in time because she needs answers immediately. And then, the villain's going to catch up. So that kind of stuff annoys me, and I hate when writers just kind of fall on those kind of tropes. But that's really my only real complaint about Moon Knight overall. I'm enjoying everything.
My biggest thing that we have is like we have one more episode left. Reportedly, it's the shortest finale episode out of any of the Disney Plus shows.
I read that.
Yeah.
At 42 minutes.
Yeah, I read that too.
I don't know how they wrap this whole thing up in a way that like makes us feel
satisfied.
I don't think they can.
I mean, think about what they got to do. They have to save Khonshu essentially. They have to escape, or Mark has to escape the underworld. Then they have to catch up with Harrow, who I'm assuming is going to be controlled by Amit. Fight him or do whatever the big battle is going to be, and then trap Amit.
The big battle should be its own episode. Like
I do feel like they do need 2 more episodes, but I guess we'll wait and see.
100%.
I mean, the finale is tomorrow.
Wasted too much time.
And just
too much time.
There is going to be an after credits
back.
I think, but now Stevens is a part of the character in the comics, so I feel like you have to bring him back. But then again, they never showed us the third personality that they've clearly hinted at, so maybe they replace Steven with Jacob.
We met the third personality at the end of the last episode.
I'm sorry, Zuplex.
We had a different. I think we met Jake Lockley for the first time at the end of the last episode.
In heaven,
he was trying to stab in the insane asylum. He was trying to stab with the triangle, like.
Oh, I saw that. Thing. Yeah, there's that quick
I believe
shot.
That's Jake.
Yeah,
his accent changes, and Oscar's been very good at like showing us.
But then, what's the point of that?
Personality is.
But then my response to that, I don't disagree, because that moment is like a different. There's a lot of different behaviors there, but what's the point of like showing it without just flat out saying this is the third personality? Again, to your point, when we're on episode 5 and we only have one more episode left,
But wouldn't that?
What's up, Steve?
Do you think it was a hint when they were walking through and that other sarcophagus was
100%?
Yeah,
rumbling around.
Wouldn't
they have to let him out?
Well, I guess that'll happen in the next
that
episode.
Was the whole point of her saying you're not balancing the thing. You have to go back in and try to balance the level or whatever.
Right. When they went back into the hospital,
was like signifying, hey, go find Jake and become whole. And balance this thing out. But it went in some other, mystical.
To be honest, it went in a much better direction, I think. Them delving deep into Mark's backstory and the death of his brother and the mom and all that stuff. I think that was Disney proved that they are willing to handle some much darker themes.
That whole episode 5 was probably the darkest theme-wise, the darkest thing Disney has done. I mean, they've kind of like hinted at some alcoholism with Tony. They've hinted at like some deeper things happening, but they've never really flat out shown it like that. I mean, hearing the mom flat out blame her one son for the death of her other son, and they basically showed everything besides her physically hitting him, even though they basically gave it to us. They really hammered home some of the dark stuff that's going on. So I do think
the reason why Steven even exists, block all that bad shit that was happening.
Yeah, how fucked up was it? I think the moment that hit me the most was when Mark says to Steven when they're going through their thing, like, you're not supposed to remember this. You're supposed to. You had a good mother and you lived a good life. I was like, man, that's messed up to come to that realization.
Yeah. I mean, even that kid did have phenomenal acting too, though.
Oh, 100%. That kid really hit.
So, like, before Moon Knight came out, Aggie was talking about how it's going to be darker than anything you've seen before, and we all kind of went with the whole like, oh, Moon Knight's going to be kicking ass the whole time, and blah 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 blah. We're going to see some real violence this time. We never even picked up on the fact
they blacked it out.
We never even picked up on the fact that like they could just be dealing with much darker themes than we've seen in any of this stuff yet. Yeah.
I'm still hoping that in the finale they release Jacob and he just kind of goes berserk.
There's so much they need to do this finale.
We see him kind of murder some people.
40 minutes.
It's not a good.
I'm going to be disappointed already now.
For anyone who watches tomorrow or after the finale comes out, make sure you watch through the end credits because there is an end credit scene. They've already confirmed that. Which is basically, it follows the same thing as all the other Disney Plus shows. The last episode always has an end credit teaser for something that's coming.
Did read something today too that they changed it from a series finale to a season finale.
Yeah, ScytheX put that on the Facebook group on GGEN, and that's an interesting thing because I mean, I guess maybe people are enjoying the show. It is breaking records from what I understand. It's getting the highest ratings for a Disney Plus Marvel show. So I guess that they're planning on maybe trying to write a new story and having them come back. Maybe in that season they'll like One Shot said they'll actually give us Moon Knight for the majority of the show.
I mean, I would hope so. That would irritate me to no end.
I think this is a good thing to do it like this though, because thinking about it like big picture style, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you have a Moon Knight movie, if you have Midnight Suns, you're already emotionally invested in Moon Knight, right?
Oh yeah.
Like once you debut him with like alongside Blade and Ghost Rider, now you're talking about like we don't have to waste time in those movies going through backstory and stuff.
100%.
You go straight into these massive like adventures.
100%. Maybe that's how they need to use these characters.
Maybe they canceled the idea of having a Moon Knight movie, and that's why they switched it to a season 2.
Maybe, or maybe they took a different character. Maybe Moon Knight was going to appear in maybe say Blade, and maybe they changed it to have him appear in the show the werewolf show. What the hell? Wolves by Night, I think it is. Special? Yeah, the Halloween special.
Yeah,
Wolf by
Night. That's what it's called. I mean, they could do anything, right? It's their characters. Marvel knows what they're doing. So, I just want to touch on 2 other things before we end the podcast. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes now. Did you guys happen to see the Weird Al Yankovic trailer?
Yes.
I did.
No.
So Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter himself, and possibly Wolverine, plays Weird Al Yankovic, telling his life story and the build up of his career. I'm a big fan of Weird Al. The trailer looks silly as can be. I will say Daniel Radcliffe does not look like Weird Al at all. I mean, he's like ripped like nobody can believe, and he's walking around with a shirt on. I don't really imagine.
Weird Al back in the day was ripped.
Was he?
Weird Al back in the day was ripped.
I'm gonna have to Google Weird Al.
What is this like a movie about his life or something?
Yeah, it's pretty much about his rise to fame. So I want to say it takes place in like the 80s, and it's when he released. Yeah, it's when he released Like a Surgeon and Eat It, I believe, was where he kind of started to really become popular.
Apparently, it's produced by Roku.
Yeah, it's a Roku movie. Weird Al was a consultant on the movie, and I don't know what that means though for streaming wise. Is that going to be just free and just come right to a streaming service? Is it coming to theaters? Who knows? But Daniel Radcliffe, you got to give the guy credit, man. He spent all those years doing Harry Potter, and ever since then, he said, "I got the money. I don't need to worry about another big kind of tentpole blockbuster kind of movie. So I'm just going to do weird shit." And he's lived up to that theme. The trailer looks cool. I mean, you can look if you can find it online. It's just a teaser. It's only like a minute and a half.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
And then speaking of another teaser, the Avatar 2, The Way of Water, I think it's called. We all know how ScytheX feels about it. I mean, the trailer didn't show you anything. It showed you a couple of Na'vi, a couple of avatars.
I didn't even watch it.
It was a trailer for a trailer. It was a trailer telling you that the full trailer is going to be at the beginning of Doctor Strange, so go see Doctor Strange.
What's funny to me is that if they didn't specifically call it the Avatar Way of Water or whatever it's called trailer, I would have thought it was like a trailer for some new Avatar 1 re-release. It looks exactly, nothing changed. It looks exactly the same. But
looked like all footage from
I'm kind of like Scythe though. I feel like Avatar 1 super underrated, overrated movie, and it's been way too long for a sequel. If they came out with a sequel a few years later, then fine. But I don't even know how long it's been at this point. But like, who gives a crap about this movie?
We didn't need a sequel to Ferngully. We don't need a sequel to Avatar.
Right.
James Cameron, he's the one that gives a crap. He hates friggin' he hates Marvel movies, so he's like, "Oh, I got to get my Avatar to beat them out."
Yeah, he was upset that Endgame.
He's not beating them out. They work for the same company now. Don't buy Disney, bro.
It's an ego thing. He needs to have the number one grossing movie of all time.
He put Avatar back in theaters so it can overtake Endgame. That's how crazy he was.
Do you think he was?
I don't think it's going to.
Do you think he was? No, Avatar 1 did.
Yeah,
remember Endgame out beat Avatar, so and he said, "Nee." I think he woke up one morning it was just like fucking Endgame, damn it, I hate this
Marvel, man, superhero movies.
And he called somebody and was like, "We need to re-release Avatar," and then they did it, and
re-release it now.
And then Kevin Feige, like a year later, was like, "You know what?
Send in the clones.
Let's re-release Endgame. Let's kind of say fuck you." So
yeah.
And then the last bit of news that I saw, actually, I think it was yesterday, John Wick 4. There's been more information released. There's a little more hints to the storyline. Looks like it's going to be another action-heavy movie. But I'm loving John. I love John Wick from beginning to end, and I'm actually excited for the show. If you don't know, there's actually a show coming out that basically it's not John Wick. It's telling
Continental.
Yeah, it's called The Continental, and it's basically the story, or the whole focus is building out this universe that he lives in. And that Continental Hotel where like they have all their own rules and they govern themselves. That show is supposed to come out to Paramount Plus, I believe. I don't know when because they haven't released a date. But I'm in for that, man. I got
some news.
The whole thing is just looks cool to me. Well, go ahead, Scythe. You could finish us off here. What's the news?
I don't remember if you mentioned Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, you know what? I think I may have missed that one. Yeah, Ghostbusters 2, the sequel was announced.
So Ghostbusters 2 was announced. I can't wait for it because I loved Afterlife. It was such.
I still haven't seen Afterlife. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's not on any of the.
Gotta watch it. Chris.
Can I stream it though? Is it on Paramount yet or what?
I'm not sure.
Not sure what's
might be.
I gotta look for it.
Definitely.
We can do a reaction to it because I haven't watched it either.
All right, let's do that then. That's a good idea.
We can hit where.
I'll tell you right now, the little kid that plays Egon's granddaughter is phenomenal. She's such a good actress for a kid, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I've heard it's very good, so we got to check that out, Steve. We'll have to find where we can stream it and watch it.
Definitely check it out because then we can kind of dive into where the story's going afterwards.
Maybe we'll do a special episode of the theater room.
Moving on from that, Marvel news is Fantastic Four lost its director.
Oh, that's but I'm not that concerned with that.
But there's talk of maybe John Krasinski directing it.
Yeah, but he's going to be in it though. So.
Planned Mr. Fantastic.
He's in it though. It's Mr. Fantastic. I don't want him to direct it then.
Yeah.
I tell you what though,
he'd have a lot of screen time.
But he's a good director, so I'm all for that. And he's still trying to make a name for himself.
You know who my front runner for them for directing it should be?
Who?
He's
John Watts.
No. John Watts is who
walked away.
Fired.
Yeah.
It's I gotta look the guy's name up now. Brad Bird.
Oh, Brad Bird would knock it out of the park. Absolutely knock it out of the park. He already did it though. He already did Fantastic Four. He did 2 of them. I called Incredibles and Incredibles 2. So
give him the live action version.
Yeah.
You give that guy Fantastic Four. Come on,
he would knock it out of the park for sure.
I can't wait.
What else? You got anything else?
And bring a Dr. Doom back in. I don't. Fast and Furious 10. Vin Diesel argued with the director and Tandem. Basically,
he argued with the director that brought it to $1 billion franchise. This is the ego of Vin Diesel. I love Vin Diesel.
Yeah, and you're seeing why The Rock said basically, "Fuck you, I ain't doing these movies."
Right. I mean, Justin Lin is still a producer.
I'm still going to see Fast X. I can't wait.
Listen, I'm seeing all of it because I love every single one of those movies.
It's silly popcorn flicks, but they're entertaining.
You see the background bullshit that Vin Diesel does to everybody. You know?
Honestly, though, I won't be happy with Fast X, right? That's what they're calling it. I won't be happy with that movie unless they crash land on a planet and Jason X shows up and murders them all. The crossover to end all crossovers.
It's a Fast and Furious movie. They're basically, Legends of Tomorrow. You can think of any wild bullshit. It's going to happen. Fast and Furious.
I guarantee.
I love every second.
I'm calling right now. We're gonna get a lightsaber in the next one. What's up, Steve?
Did Chris talk about his favorite announcement of Venom in 3?
Oh yeah, I talked about it.
He did in the beginning.
Yeah, they're calling it Venom 3. Throw it in the trash. That's what they're calling it. Venom 3, worse than garbage. That's what I heard. That's the subtitle.
What else is something we haven't talked about is Expendables 4.
That's a big one because I'm a huge fan of the Expendables movies. I love all of them.
Yeah,
getting Expendables 4, man. Like,
I can't believe we're getting a fourth one. I want to know what
straight to DVD action hero ex MMA fighter is going to be in this one.
I cannot believe we're getting a fourth one.
They have the list out.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, we can pull it up.
I was looking at it the other day.
Pull it up
real quick to finish up Fast and Furious. They're getting I forget the person's name, the guy who directed The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, Ang Lee? No, Louis Leterrier.
Yes,
we both said the same thing. No, Louis Leterrier.
Not Ang Lee. Don't do it to us again.
Can you imagine Ang Lee? So listen, Expendables 4 cast. This is according to IMDb, so let's see if this is correct. Mickey Rourke, Sylvester Stallone, obviously Jason Statham, Harrison Ford, which I know he's going to be in it, Schwarzenegger, Wesley Snipes is coming back, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, Bruce Willis was going to be in it, but he's not going to do that now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Liam Neeson is supposed to be in it, Terry Crews, Pierce Brosnan is supposed to be in this one.
50 Cent.
Oh yeah, 50 Cent, not 50 Cent. 50 Cent.
Tony Jaa's in it.
Yeah, well, that's good because Tony Jaa is a badass, and he needs to be in this movie. I'm surprised he wasn't in him before.
And Iko Uwais?
Yeah.
Whatever. The guy Snake Eyes.
Not forget Snake Eyes, the guy from The Raid, not Snake Eyes.
He's also in Snake Eyes.
Yeah, but fuck Snake Eyes. G.I. Joe was horrible. Raid. The Raid was good. Raid 1 and Raid Redemption were fantastic. But him and Tony Jaa are some of the best martial artists on screen out there right now. So for them to be in the movie, we got to support that.
Megan Fox is your female lead.
Yeah, Megan Fox is ridiculous. I don't even know. I don't know why she's in that movie. As long as she doesn't bring Machine Gun Kelly, I'm fine with it.
Andy Garcia.
Andy Garcia
is going to be in it.
Andy Garcia, is going to be the villain of the movie, and he's going to be a phenomenal villain.
Eddie Hall is going to be in it.
I don't know why
he's
the
bodybuilder. The one that
Eddie
Hall that just fought Thor.
If you look it up, you'll know who I'm talking about. You'll know who we're talking about. But it's going to be Andy Garcia as the main bad guy, and Eddie Hall is going to be his like henchman, like second in command, protecting his ass. I tell you, I love those movies. I thought Expendables 3 was actually way better than a lot of people give it credit for.
Expendables is great. Listen,
it's a good series.
We're not expecting Shakespeare when we go see an Expendables movie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's not going to win the Oscars. We want to see shit blown up. We want to see action-packed one-liners.
I want to see an 80-year-old Sylvester Stallone with veins popping out of his fucking forearms, ripping people's throats out.
Every test and steroid you could possibly imagine. Just be like, the Expendables.
I still think Expendables 2 is the peak of the series so far. The showdown with him and Van Damme at the end. Van Damme played a phenomenal villain. I'm excited for this one. All right, boys.
I've also heard that we're getting Creed 3.
Yeah, well, they announced that a while back. I think they just kind of, with COVID and stuff, they had to kind of keep pushing it back, and they haven't released too much info. I bet you Sylvester Stallone wants to do.
Does he fight Clubber Lang's son? Is the question.
I hope not. Again, I kind of want them to veer away from the Rocky movies. Let's come up with some our own storylines. Creed 1 was excellent because it didn't really connect to previous Rocky villains. The idea behind Creed 2. I enjoyed it and I was excited for it, but we don't need to keep revisiting that same well. Let's kind of move on, Although, I'll still see it because, I'm a big fan of the Rockies, and Creed, I think, are very good. So,
Creed's great.
Yeah.
I love Creed movies.
So I'll still see it.
That first one was amazing.
From the edge. Sorry.
All right, boys. We're gonna hit an hour and a half. I'm gonna call it. The Rangers are in overtime. I want to focus on this overtime because otherwise I'm gonna stop paying attention.
Me too.
But thank you guys for everyone who joined into the chat. Rampy and Super Nintendo. Make sure you bring Steve to see the movie on Thursday. Fly Life. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for joining us. All you guys, thank you guys for jumping in with me too. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe across the board. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. Twitter. I feel like I'm missing one. I'm sure I'm missing one. Also, keep an eye out. This podcast the replay will go up on YouTube either tomorrow night or Thursday, and shortly after that will be available on all the podcasting platforms. We really, really appreciate you guys watching, liking, subscribing, giving us your input, and kind of jumping into the chat with us. Keep an eye out for some new merch that ScytheX has promised us will be out this week.
Coming
and
Multiverse is this weekend.
Multiverse of Madness is Thursday. We're going to do a deep dive on it. We usually give it about a week, and then we go full-blown spoilers. So try to see the movie, and if you have, jump into the chat and give us your opinion. We want to know what you guys think.
Are you doing it Thursday since that's Doctor Strange?
Well, I'm going to see it at 9 p.m., so I'm not doing it Thursday. I'll wait till Tuesday.
Yeah.
I might do a quick review on TikTok.
Were you asking me?
Yeah, I was asking you.
Oh.
I'm going to do it on Saturday, but I'm going to see the movie Thursday.
Okay. Scythe, are you doing? Is this weekend the Multiversal podcast?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Okay,
that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. That's one of the other podcasts from the GGEN group, and thank you guys very much, GG, and let's go Rangers, and I will see you guys.
Let's go Rangers.